Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Overwatch Open, our final series of the night right now, Selfless versus Team Liquid. We are going to be heading the map to sunny Hollywood as Selfless looks to stay alive, as Team Liquid looks to finish it out. And John, going forward here, I'd probably expect more of the same from Team Liquid. I think it's going to be a rough go from Selfless to pull this out, but you never know. Hollywood is a map that both teams, of course, have practiced a lot, and upsets can and do happen.
The differences between the two teams maybe not as pronounced as Team Liquid would have liked them to be. If we remember Selfless actually stalling on Dorado, they did such a good job of that in the first half. And then you think to the second half where Team Liquid had to hold on for a couple more seconds. The reason it was close is because Selfless were able to hold on so long at the death. Otherwise, it would have been the one-sided affair you were talking about previously. So Selfless definitely have points in the game where they're doing quite well for themselves. But Team Liquid does feel like today, they are consistently just that little bit above.
Yeah, and really standouts for Team Liquid. Of course, we did mention that Rafa did seem to be commanding some pretty intelligent play calls, at least in the flanks, all the rest. But AZK, once again, a total standout, having some real hero moments there for Team Liquid.
Yeah.
Something that wasn't really matched by the side of Selfless. So Selfless is going to have to dig deep and find that same level of contribution as they go forward here, because it's just going to be difficult, especially if AZK does what we know he can do and go off in a similar fashion.
We need to see those individual clutch plays coming up from Selfless. Not every team needs a Seagull or a Cypher, but what they do need is individual players just in those team fights to actually grab those doubles or triples, even if it's a different player each time, because ultimately you do have to fight against someone like AZK, and they just need an answer to that, really.
Yeah, I mean, there were points where Iman definitely had some great coordination with his team, so I feel like the way Selfless is handling their ults, for the most part, was okay. There's a few wasted ults for them, but Iman certainly did that. But if Iman could take it up another level and have some big plays without the ultimates, like the give another example. Let's take a look at Fnatic and IDDQD. IDDQD in recent games was just absolutely tearing through people as Tracer. No pulse bomb required, getting 2 and 3 Ks without. Iman, if he does go the Tracer route once more, hopefully he would be able to bring that level of play to the table. They need some spark of life here, I think, really to unseat Liquid going into Hollywood.
The good news is, I don't think they're particularly weak. They haven't had the spark, but at the same time, nothing's been particularly terrible either. So we'll see if they can bring it up a notch, take the game to Liquid, and possibly take this series into a third map. What they're playing for here is a berth in the semifinals. This is the 4th week of the Overwatch Open. Only one more team from North America are going to make it to the automatic playoff spots. So a lot to play for as we move here onto Hollywood.
That VIP parking space, of course, is what everyone is fighting over. All this bloodshed over one director's parking space. But
oh, dude, we're in London. Do you know how much a parking space costs?
It seems expensive.
Oh, dude, like a parking space in London can cost like a 4-bedroom house out in the country.
They really want you to use the tube. That's all I gotta say. But taking a look here at Selfless, this is interesting. We do see this every now and then. They're gonna dabble with the Ice Queen herself. May going to be played by Michael 3D, and he's just going to be looking to split off Liquid as they roll in. Dak is going to be on the Lucio. Rob Wiz going to be on the Reaper. Juvenile on the Reinhardt. Iman on the McCree. And Chili going to be on Zenyatta.
This is going to be fascinating. Wait until we see 2 or 3 members move on through. Are we going to get a collapse? May still being very sneaky. There's the ice wall. Oh, and they're moving back on this side of it. Ooh. Only ID getting picked off, unfortunately. Poor guy.
Well, that is exactly what they're looking for there. They were able to split ID away from the rest of his team, and they rolled right in there. No cares in the world. So good opening here from Selfless, using a more unconventional hero pick to catch Liquid a little bit off guard.
This is really interesting as well, because now if you're Liquid, you go, hang on a second, if we don't collapse like within half a second of each other, or we don't completely surprise the opposing team, we now get split up. How do we deal with May? This is going to be very, very fascinating to watch.
One way you can deal with it is just try and bait it up by having heroes move in that can get away even if they get split out. The wall right now does not do a whole lot. Liquid now has an opportunity to move in. AZK has gotten to the back line, is looking for harassment on that May. Has to watch out for getting one shot, of course. That is never fun. Do not want to get headshot by the right click. But you have Liquid right now. They're gaining position, and they're just pushing Selfless back. They're winning the poke war. AZK almost gets taken out. Has to be a little bit careful. But everything is in favor of Liquid right now. Even though health-wise it's relatively even, their positioning is so much better. And Mezar able to take out Juvenile. Ooh. Both teams down to Reinhardt, but AZK now free the get to the backline, do some real damage.
Exactly right. So we'll see if AZK can go ahead and continue unleashing here. May actually slowing Tracer down can be awfully frustrating, but managing to get away in at the end. And now Liquid moving in. Rafa from the other side. Discord Orb is on May. Nobody is targeting Genji right now. AZK and Dahang getting a kill each in the meantime. Everybody is going to town. And Michael 3D trying to bring it back. But really here, Team Liquid are doing well.
Here's a problem here. Even if they do get some pickoffs on Team Liquid, their respawns are closer. They will be able to just sort of zerg in on this point and take it. I will say that's a downside of May, is that May is great for splitting people off and getting a pickoff right there, but if you fail to get the pickoff off the split, May doesn't have the firepower to really keep people back, and that's what happened where the wall was used, they weren't split off, and Selfless had to concede a lot of ground just because they were lacking the firepower of, say, a Reaper in May's spot.
Well, I think it's really difficult to sort of switch and then get back out in time as well. I mean, in an ideal world, if you had a magical teleporter up.
It's a gamble of May, really.
Yeah, a little bit of a gamble. It worked very well for the first push, though, to be fair, as we move on to the streets phase now. Team Liquid, they're not contesting the high ground just yet. Genji maybe having a little poke, and Selfless, they're actually positioned quite well. Nobody can really shoot up at them, and they've got plenty of spots to move on down. Juvenile, oops, trying for the fire strike, unfortunately getting the floorboards.
ID is going to be looking for Graviton here in just a moment. Rafa ready to feast on that as soon as it comes down. Wombo combo could very well be on the menu. The Graviton Surge can pull in 3. Rafa, though, too low HP, can't move in on it, so their follow-up is not going to be there. Rafa got chunked real hard before that Graviton hit, but here he goes. He's going to be coming in late to the party. He's looking for the Dragon Blade kills anyways. In the back line, has taken out Dak. Gets a little bit more. A double kill here for Rafa. Who needs a Graviton anyways?
Exactly right. Rafa just coming in on cleanup duty saying thank you very much. Emon actually helping out as well. And now the teams are trading kills just a little bit. Both sides with their losses, but Team Liquid ultimately able to get control of the high ground, and the payload is still moving.
So Liquid, that's just good adaptability. You know that they were looking for the combo. Rafa said, look, I'm at really low HP, 25%. I can't go in. And they just adapted around it, backed up a little bit, went in when they saw an opportunity, and they weren't stymied by the fact that the Graviton was kind of a waste. So good play by Team Liquid, and now they're threatening Selfless here on the second checkpoint. Michael
3D still on the May, by the way. We haven't had a switch up from him so far, so he's continuing to play this and try and stall this out as long as possible. We are wondering out loud if something else might be decent here, and the entire team gets wiped, save Emon, who's constantly trying to bring it back, but Team Liquid have so much momentum behind them right now. What I would say is, at least they only have the one ultimate, but Transcendence is a pretty big one.
It is a pretty big one indeed, and that last fight was all sorts of miserable for Selfless. They were getting flanked by both Genji and Tracer, and had the earth crumble upon their feet as well. Mezar with a good earth shower. Knocked down at least 2 there, if not 3, so Liquid, good use of ults there, and honestly, Selfless not in the greatest position for the next fight. Transcendence uniquely suited to stopping Dragon Blade from getting good value. They're going to run it anyways. Dragon Blade being unleashed. Here comes Rob Wiz in the back. Is able to take out Rafa early. Transcendence is not in a situation where it can actually save people. Has 2 kills, looking for more. Rob Wiz opening the way. Emon with the fall through. And that is going to be Selfless coming in and buying themselves some super valuable time.
Oh, that was really important for them here. They did not want to allow them to build the momentum and have the ultimate advantage going to the end as well, because if Liquid has 2 or 3 more ultimates, they could actually steamroll through and basically win the game in another 30 seconds. So winning that fight, building that extra ultimate charge, and staying in the game is so important for Selfless, because look, they won the fight and they're still down on ultimates.
Yeah, the next fight here is important. Here comes Graviton Surge. AZK over the top. A 4-kill! The slam dunk from AZK. Following up that Graviton, and that is huge here for Liquid. It's going to be a last dash stall coming out here from Selfless if they want to buy any extra time from here on out.
Exactly right. They need to make sure that well, I mean, they are doing a very good job on the trickle defense. We saw that on Dorado. We need to see it again on Hollywood right now. Let's see how much damage they can actually pull out here. They've got 2 ultimates already, and immediately using the sound barrier to try and move out towards the payload. They need to stop this. They need to win at least 1 team fight to keep this time competitive for them. And Emon and Juvenile combined should be able to do something, but Rafa is trying to nip the problem in the bud in the first place. That is the Earth Shatter Selfless needed.
Yeah, the Earth Shatter stops Rafa in his tracks. Dragon Blade, no more. 4 kills coming out here from Selfless, so they are able to reestablish despite the unfavorable circumstances. They get out in time to stop Liquid from getting onto the point, and they're going to buy themselves at least an extra minute from that play.
And that extra minute actually really big, because we're going to be under 2 minutes remaining potentially for Team Liquid if and when they are able to complete this map. So highly useful there. That could have been the difference between quite a competitive time and actually this is reasonable and we can beat this.
Yeah, and the thing about this too is that if Liquid isn't able to win the next fight, then they might be looking at a last point hold coming up. But here comes Michael 38, moving in, summoning the Blizzard. It does set up Iman for a kill on AZK. 2 extra kills coming in here from Selfless. This fight is absolutely theirs. And Liquid now a little bit on the hot seat. Magic number for Selfless. They need 2 more fights, and they will get their last point hold.
What do we think about Michael 3D continuing to stay on Mei? We were talking about whether or not Reaper might have been a viable alternative here. Are we thinking as time goes on, actually this choice is proving to be a little bit better for him, and he's doing quite well?
I mean, the one thing about Mei is that it definitely, at times it can give Genji a little bit more trouble because you don't have to worry about getting deflected. He has to give a little bit more care to Mei. You're losing, though, a lot of your tank busting power. So the jury's still out. It is nice to see the variety, if nothing else. And for now, it's working out okay for Selfless. I mean, this has been a decent defense. They could lose right now, and this would still be a beatable time.
AZK moving on behind. The Pulse Bomb, though, getting completely whipped to start things off, but he manages to take them by surprise anyway. ID, in the meantime, popping in on Reaper, and they are in all sorts of trouble, are Selfless right now. They were about 3 different directions they needed to look. They weren't sure where to go. Mei is frozen in an ice block in the middle, and there's absolutely nothing she can do about the situation either. Everyone trying to rush on out. Rafa doing more damage, and absolutely fantastic. Everyone getting knocked out of the way, but the Discord Orb is great. Rafa continuing the cleanup, and this should be this.
Dragon Blade v Dragon Blade at the end, but Rafa's blade just a little bit sharper. Liquid is going to complete that out. That was about a time of, I think, 750 something or so, maybe like 749. Either way, it's definitely a beatable time here in Hollywood, but it's not one of those things where Selfless can really rest easy. They still have to do a lot of work going through. Their offense on Dorado wasn't particularly swift, so they definitely need some things going right for them if they want to flip this and even up the series 1-1.
The final point hold there from Selfless could have ended up being very important because that could have been the difference between a sub 6-minute time and the 7-minute something time that we have seen here. So we'll see if they can make that work in their favor. Selfless, of course, are perfectly aware and are a very capable payload team. However, Team Liquid so far seem to have been just a little bit a cut above. And we'll see if they can maintain that going into the second half here on Hollywood.
Alrighty, so teams are switching sides. Liquid will still, of course, be in the red, but they will be on the defense. Taking a look at them as they set up here, it's going to be Dehang here on the Zenyatta. Mezar going to be on the Reinhardt. ID on the Reaper. Minstrel and Lucio. AZK on the McCree. Rafa going to end things here on the Zarya.
And still, nobody can park straight. Still! You'd think they'd have practice by now.
No,
well.
Never.
Never.
He's a VIP. He doesn't have to park straight.
I drove here today, and admittedly, I might have parked a little bit off as well.
I mean, that's understandable. You're out of practice. Who drives in London?
That's true. I don't own a car. I rent a car. And for very, very good reason as well. It tends to be a little bit difficult here, especially on the weekends. Luckily, the hours we're working here, conveniently, there's not going to be a lot of traffic on the way home.
That does help. So, official time is 7:46, so Selfless, this is something they can work with here, but really they don't want to get stalled out too much here on point A. They're going to need to get this, and really the 3rd push minimum. If it goes much beyond that, they can probably kiss their hopes and dreams goodbye here. So, some trouble here for Selfless to be sure. Let's see what they can do, though, as they go in the attack.
Here we go, moving on out. And Michael 3D is a very, very capable Zarya, so we'll be keeping an eye on whether he can be the difference maker in this team. Team Liquid at the moment are taking that high line, trying to get all the way into the archway. They're now moving back, though, to a more conventional position. They were looking to see if they could get an early pick-off. It doesn't look like at the moment. Michael seemed to have been their target, but they will have moved back now and a collapse onto the point. All very structured so far. Meza going down immediately, but ID able to peg one back for Team Liquid immediately as well. And now this is a full-on team fight. Team Liquid a little bit more spread out, so not concentrated in a single location. And Reaper's absolutely going to town, but has he found his match? No, he hasn't. AZK coming in from behind, providing the covering fire.
And that's always a problem when you're up against a team that does have a good McCree like AZK. If you're down 2 people and the McCree is untouched and really can still keep laying it in, he can be much more aggressive and clean things up. And that's basically what happened there. AZK only got 2 of the killing blows, but he was a big source of damage going in. ID, of course, the other big source of damage. So not the greatest for Selfless. Liquid will be able to fully reestablish here. We'll see what Selfless does, but if Selfless doesn't win this next push, Joro, they're going to have to deal with a whole lot of ults coming out here from Team Liquid.
Oh yeah, Team Liquid are building it up like nobody's business right now. Most of Selfless are at about 60% right now. Team Liquid have 2 ults available with several over 75, so you're absolutely right there. And we'll see how they are capable of doing this, because frankly, they just have to do it on the mechanics here. AZK now using, oh, that is fantastic, absolutely beautiful. If that wasn't a direct counter, I frankly do not know what is. And getting absolutely pinned to the wall. He became wallpaper on Dorado. But have we got additional damage popping out?
They're moving in. ID was going for the Death Blossom, got interrupted out of it, still killed Iman though. Juvenile with 3 kills on his own here, effectively in this fight, so really good Reinhardt play coming out from him. Of course, he did open things up with the Earth Shatter, already at 52%, so not the worst. Selfless is going to take the point. They keep the dream alive. They get to the point here, 5 minutes, 40 seconds. That is still totally doable for bringing the cart from here to the very end.
And Hollywood, of course, not Dorado. I was just thinking about the time that they can hold and how long Team Liquid can actually stretch this out. They're not able to do so at the moment, though. Selfless will successfily take the payload. They are going to have to escort that. Wow, ragdoll much.
AZK on a ride.
That was like, no. Do you remember Superman? When he goes up above the clouds and then goes, that's kind of like McCree's Superman moment. If you're watching this, I expect to see this on Reddit in half an hour.
Oh man, of course, unfortunately, Superman doesn't die in that situation, unlike McCree. But this is really good for Selfless. They're getting really good positioning on top. They're forcing Liquid back right now. They have all sorts of options available. They have decent ult power. Rob is alone. If he can find a good opportunity, the drop down is going to be huge. He's still near the card. I think he's going to teleport up here in a moment. So this is going really well for Selfless. If they win the next fight, Team Liquid is going to be in all sorts of a smelly pickle.
This is going to be very, very interesting. Team Liquid maybe not expecting this coming out from Selfless. The first 2 kills for Rob Wiz coming out, and Iman's going to have a couple of things to say as well, but not before Rob Wiz picks up the treble. Iman, he's looking for a good... He actually had a good flashbang earlier in the fight, and he has contributed here to slowing Team Liquid down. Finally, he gets a headshot to pick off Rafa, and Selfless are storming their way through the streets phase.
Well, now the only upside here for Team Liquid is that you take a look at the cart, they will be able to defend the cart with okay positioning going through. They're not going to have to totally rush in. And if they do defend it, they will be able to get on the rooftop. So Selfless, they need to win one more clean team fight. They're going to have to do it with Team Liquid having a bit of an advantage. You have to watch out for the Graviton Earth Shadow. But here it comes, Team Liquid. The Earth Shadow is down, sets up for 2 kills. They are rotating this right back. Mezar getting the triple kill for himself. Rafa with a bit of cleanup towards the end. And Liquid, that's going to be a full team wipe with authority. And this will really let them restabilize their defense here in second.
And that's going to be so important for them. I mean, with 3 minutes left to go in the game time, well, they're not really fighting against that because 3:48 to finish the whole thing, it's going to be really tough, right? But Team Liquid needed to make that crucial. If they lost that team fight, basically 4 minutes to finish the last point is actually quite generous. Now that they've won it, if they can stall another minute, all of a sudden 2 minutes to finish the last point is a big bit of pressure. And AZK looking for the picks off from Deadeye, only getting 1 though. Transcendence being popped is that, and now we're going to be moving on in.
Yep, they're moving forward. AZK with the early pick on Lucio. That is all sorts of bad. Dak not in the right place at the right time. This is a big opportunity for Liquid. They're moving in. We're going to see a Death Blossom coming out soon. AZK just poking people from the top. ID whirling on the bottom. And they're going to run through. That is a triple kill for AZK. Lots of work done being done by ID, though, even though he didn't get all the killing blows.
Those last 2 team fights really summed up this entire series, I feel like, because Selfless doing tremendously well, Team Liquid, not the stomp they were expecting, but maybe squeezing themselves now into a winning position.
Yeah, Team Liquid, this is good. If they win one more team, their magic number here is 3. But if they win just 2 long team fights, that's going to be 2. 2 long, 3 short is what they're looking for. AZK right now poking from the top, almost has Chili dead. Chili has no HP. That would have been a massive pick. He's still alive. The Graviton Surge comes out here from Selfless. We'll see if they get much of it. Rob Wiz able to kill Mezar. AZK, though, over the top. Rafa assisting. 3 kills here from Liquid as AZK starts the feast. Death Blossom from Rob Wiz not getting what he's looking for. Him and Iman are still alive. Iman getting 2 kills. So here comes Selfless. Will it be enough? Unfortunately for them, ID and AZK are still in this.
Exactly right. I think it feels like the 2 DPSs on either team are both sort of competing to be there. No, this show is actually about me right now. Rob Wiz and Iman versus AZK and ID is a fascinating duel to watch. And at the moment, Team Liquid just about getting the upper hand. This is such an important team play as well. And notice this time around, Team Liquid are defending from the bottom. They are no longer holding the roof. They are accepting that they're going to have to hold on the final point.
And AZK getting a little bit razzle-dazzled here by the Genji and all sorts of trouble. But look at the support coming in. Rafa comes to his aid, is able to at least punish Rob Wiz for moving in like that. It's 5v5. Selfless is bringing it here, but here's the thing for Liquid. Even if they lose this fight, just stalling out and making it take a while would be huge. And they do force out a lot of resources. Graviton comes in at the very end. I think that's a bit of a waste. Does not kill anything.
Where's the DPS follow-up?
It stalls a little bit here. So for Liquid, it might not be the worst. So they're going to lose this, but they're buying enough time that even just stalling out on last might be enough for them to win this game.
It very well might be. I mean, we're down to a minute at the moment, and by the time the door opens and the payload goes through, there will be under 1 minute for Selfless to try and complete this. So Team Liquid, as long as they can store at least one more time. In fact, they're actually coming out. They might even get the hold on this point if they keep streaming out at the moment like this. Robwiz and Dak going down, and ID is going to get the double. He's looking for a third. He's hunting. He's going inside the house. He finds it. That is going to be it. There is no way back now, and Team Liquid complete the hold on Hollywood.
Yep, Team Liquid, there was a point there where it was actually looking pretty grueling. Selfless had an opportunity where if they had just won one team fight, they would have had 4 minutes to complete last, and they probably would have won the game. Pretty much everything was riding on that team fight. Unfortunately for them, they lost it. They lost a whole lot of momentum in the process, and look at this play of the game, the slam dunking coming out from AZK. I mean, there's Pulse Bomb into Graviton Surge, but that was doing it with a little bit of style.
Yeah, that was fantastic stuff coming in from him there. Now we take a look at a couple of the highlights from the game, of which there are many. There were 2 Tracers and 2 Reapers, all 4 of whom provided us excellent entertainment throughout, not forgetting, of course, the rest of their teams too, but a lot of damage done. Excellent Graviton Surges as well. Michael 3D and, as it turns out, Rafa, both pretty good with their placement throughout the series.
Yeah, Michael 3D, I thought in general had a pretty good series. Not too much in the way of wasted Gravitons. There were a few here and there, but Rafa, very smart play coming out from his Zarya. Nothing incredibly crazy in terms of, mega killing sprees, but it was good, solid play coming out from Rafa, if nothing else. And that might be what defines him here, where you don't see Rafa going on crazy sprees, but always making good decisions, and definitely seemed to be an asset to Liquid here.
Well, that's going to be really important for Team Liquid as well, because you mentioned historically, especially with the roster changes, the one thing Team Liquid haven't been is consistent. So if we're actually able to get Rafa in as the bedrock of the team and get him to form that baseline, I don't mind if what we saw wasn't Team Liquid at the absolute best we've ever seen them, because if you're telling me they're going to be like this at a minimum from here on out, I'll happily take that as a starting point. But instead of starting, we're going to be finishing things up here this evening with Alex, who has joined us back on the desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Yes, indeed, it is almost done. It is almost time for us to go ahead and get tucked up into our little Overwatch quilts. But for now, we do have to address this game. And in particular, it has just been this weird place we're in now, where we're, again, Liquid have done well. Liquid have won, and yet we proceed to call them underdogs coming into tomorrow. This is still that same storyline. That 2-0 convincing versus Selfless. The couple of points I think you've already hit on the head. There isn't too much more to take away from this one. You did get to see Rafa a little bit on the Genji. You got a bit of the Zarya. Again, I think you put it perfectly, ZP, consistent. There was nothing, no kind of mind-boggling plays. Didn't get to see that Quake LG mechanics applying to the Zarya channel. Not too much anyway. But all-round convincing stuff from Liquid. I'm not sure what the big takeaway is from this. Selfless just lacking a little polish, would you say?
Yeah, I would say Selfless lacking a little bit. I mean, they do seem to be improving over time. It wasn't quite enough to deal with Liquid here. It's hard to say when you look at this, because obviously if Liquid came in here and just completely stomped Selfless, it'd be, wow, they've really improved. But it also it's ignoring Selfless as part of the equation.
Yeah.
Selfless, of course, is a team that has been improving all the rest. So who knows? Maybe they've improved a lot, and Liquid just sort of came out and had a really good performance nonetheless against the improved Selfless. We'll find out tomorrow, but overall my gut impression is that Selfless still has a little bit to go and definitely probably needs a little bit more star power sooner rather than later in terms of just getting big plays, because they didn't really have AZK level craziness coming out.
And AZK level craziness is where we're heading right now. And the incredible play of the game was brought to you by none other than AZK. I believe it was with that aerial pulse bomb. You got to see it once, you get to see it again. He does descend from above and drop down that pulse bomb, slips it into the Graviton Surge, and it is far too tasty to not be watched again. This is brought to you by Republic of Gamers. It's the incredible play of the game. You can see here just hanging out here on Hollywood, and he does indeed make quite the action movie out of this one. Just knocks 4 people on their backsides in a blink of an eye. I did like that May popped up there. It was nice to see a little bit of a kind of a bit of a curveball brought in. We did see Michael 3D actually making quite the impact with it. When it comes to contesting, just using that ice cube at the right moments, a couple of walls, an ultimate that slowed them down on point 1. I mean, it was something. There you go.
I'll go with it was something.
Something.
I feel like on the first point it was effective as a surprise factor.
Sure.
On the last point where it was, really, really choked up, you can direct the passage of play. Also kind of cool there, and you get to slow down a lot of the flanking players as well, which a lot of people don't give May enough credit for. Yeah. On the streets phase, I feel like I was slightly less convinced.
Perhaps maybe first and third, and we'll forget about the streets phase then for Michael 3D. All round, though, Selfless do need to go ahead and review some of that one, and we're going to go ahead and review the brackets right now to understand what we have just witnessed and what we have to look forward to tomorrow. We did see the boys from Complexity, Best Method. We saw them, of course, in the round of 16, the quarterfinals. Complexity proved to be a little too much, and they'll be battling against Sodipop, who thrived versus Splice. Some may be surprised to hear. We get to see Complexity, Sodipop, of course. A reminder to those of you, the guys that are unfamiliar with that, is the old TSM roster. On the other side of the bracket, it's a biggie. We get our NRG Liquid game, and that promises to be a very good game brought to you in our second semi-final. So that's going to be coming to you guys the same time as today. However, of course, it will be following the European semi-finals as well, and you get your grand finals all around. What are you looking forward to most? Did you enjoy seeing Rafa play a little bit of Overwatch? Did you enjoy ZP's fantastic blue shirt? All of these informations and all these questions need answers on #OWOpen. That's where we're asking you to channel all of your social media things. John, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank
No,
you.
in all seriousness, guys, we will be back same time, same place tomorrow. We'll get both semifinals and the final for Europe. And, of course, we will then get the same action from North America as well. Make sure you go ahead and continue tweeting us at OWOpen. We will be checking them out. And I believe Alex will be bringing some of your best or worst jokes to tomorrow's broadcast.
They have not been great. I'm not going to lie. You guys need to step up your joke game. #OWOpen. There was one trying to do something about amazing, and I wasn't particularly happy with it. Either way, guys, we will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. North American and European champions will be crowned, and 2 more will join the rest in those guaranteed playoff spots. It's going to be a blockbuster, and we hope to see you there.